Welcome to Alottabotz, stories from a world where robots tumble, tinker, and discover the wonders of the world around them. Written and illustrated by Lynn Johnston and now read aloud just for you.
The fourth book is called The Big Trip. So Tim's dad is a spaceship pilot, and Tim has always wanted to go along for the ride. The sky became dark as the giant ship landed. This was the spacecraft Tim's father commanded. Tim and his mother watched as it docked. Then hatches were opened and portals unlocked. Passengers exited, cargo was checked, while captain and crew secured cabins and decks. "You're home," cried Tim's mother. "Oh, how you've been missed." Tim closed his eyes as his mom and dad kissed. Dad sat in the right seat as Mom drove the car. The house that they lived in was not very far. Gramps opened the door and said, "Welcome, come in. Relax, put your wheels up," he said with a grin. "You've been round the planet, you need to unwind." "Thanks," said the captain, "it's been quite a grind." Tim's mom took his briefcase and turned down the light. She knew that he'd have to recharge for the night. Tomorrow they'd hear of the places he'd been, all the bots he'd encountered, the cities he'd seen. Tim took down a globe and a map of the skies. "Rusty," he said, "come see where Dad flies." His dogbot was keen and he wagged with delight. He had a propeller. He too could take flight. Timothy wondered if he'd be allowed to go up in that ship and look down at the clouds. In a few days, when the captain had rested, he had to have all of his batteries tested. He needed fresh oil and he needed new bearings. He needed to polish the suit he was wearing. But just as he started to feel right at home, a message appeared on his company phone. It said, "Sorry, but plans have been changed. We know you had holidays nicely arranged, but something's come up. We expect you'll be miffed. 2 of our pilots have canceled their shifts." "Oh no," said the captain, now deeply annoyed. "I've just arrived home and I've been redeployed." His family was frustrated, angry, distraught. "But wait," said the captain, "I've just had a thought. Why don't you come with me? They can't tell me no. They owe me a favor." "You mean I can go?" said Tim, who couldn't believe his own ears. He'd wanted to travel with Dadbot for years. "I've booked time off work," said his mom, thinking fast. "We'll have a vacation together at last." Arrangements were made for a room on the ship. They knew it was going to be a long trip. "We're ready for takeoff," said one of the crew. "You should be up front, enjoying the view." Tim and his mombot were both strapped in tight, excited as Dadbot prepared for the flight. He reached for a lever, then pushed it to high. The giant ship rose and soared into the sky. Tim held on tightly as gravity shifted. He felt a bit tense as the mighty ship lifted. But the motion was smooth, it was gentle and soft. "Amazing," he whispered, once they were aloft. "Look down," said Tim's mother. "Our world looks so small, and now it's reduced to the size of a ball." A map of the heavens appeared on a screen to show where they're going and where they had been. "We're on an adventure," said Tim with delight, as a shining new galaxy came into sight. "Sit tight," said the captain. "We're landing quite soon on a planet called Vector, which has 7 moons." They later arrived on a planet called Fawn, where some robots got off and others got on. They refueled on Zorpatron, rested on Bun, where they went for a walk and took pictures for fun. "Everything's different," said Tim, looking round. "Nobody looks like they do in our town. They're strange and they're noisy. They make such a fuss. I wonder," said Mombot, "what they think of us." They flew to Garbanzo, where everything's green, where people and houses were all shaped like beans. They flew to a system that had triple suns to make more deliveries and passenger runs. "We've been quite a while," said Mom, rubbing her cheeks. "By my calculation, it's been several weeks." "We can't go back yet. There is much more to do," said the captain as into the distance they flew. "I miss my grandbot, my dog, and my friends. Those traveling's fun. I can't wait till it ends," said Tim, who admitted to feeling quite sad. "Then I guess we will have to go home," said his dad. They made 2 more stops and then turned around. It seemed like forever before they touched down. Safe on their own planet, all disembarked. They climbed into their vehicle where it was parked. What a wonderful trip that was, Mom said aloud. Of her son and her husband she felt very proud. As they drove to the house that they shared with Granddad, Tim thought about all of the fun that he'd had. But he missed his neighborhood. He missed his school. He missed his teachers, his classwork, the rules. He missed his puppy, and he missed the park. He missed the 2 moons you could see after dark. I'm sorry I wanted to come home so fast. I was desperate to travel, but it didn't last. I know, said Tim's mom, but you mustn't regret. This trip of a lifetime you'll never forget. Thank you, said Tim when his dad was alone. You're right, said the captain. There's no place like home. So after they came home, Tim realized what a great trip he'd had.